Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the chance of some really heavy rain coming up across the south tomorrow. Could be a real bit washout down across the south and southeast of the country tomorrow. And then after that we'll have a look at the weather for the next couple of weeks. So it'll take us off into the start of August, so going through to the final month of the summer of 2015. A very odd summer it's been, but it looks like it's going to be turning more unsettled. That's the main message I think to take from the weather as we go through to the end of July. Turning more unsettled. Maybe signs of things settling a little bit as we get through into the start of August, but that's a long way off. Now, before we get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on the page, as you know. Have a browse through the widgets. If there's any articles that you're interested in, please click through the article, read the article. Thanks so much for doing that. For the ads to most of the pages, again, as you know, they open up with the content which you watch and they'll close back up again. Thanks so much for getting involved. And thanks for doing that. So just starting off with the situation for tomorrow. It's still an area of low pressure down here at midday on Friday, just off the northern coast of France. That's a pretty innocuous feature, really, not a deep area of low pressure. It's going to have a lot of heavy rain within it. So as we move through the course of tomorrow, that low pressure will move across the northern coast of France. There's a weather front on its northern side that will be pushing up across southern and southeastern parts of the country. And then the low pressure will carry on in towards the low countries by the look of it by the time we go through to midnight on Saturday, by which time it is deepening and starting to pull in a bit of a strong, fairly chilly north to northeasterly wind here across the eastern side of the country. This is how the rainfall is looking from the GFS model for tomorrow. So this is 6 o'clock in the morning, already heavy rain approaching the very far southwest of the country and the Channel Islands. As we go through the morning, that rain develops quite widely across the southwest, so through some parts of Wales, southwest England, into some southern parts of England. And then it's really in the afternoon that rain gets very heavy, potentially, as it pushes northwards and eastwards, particularly through the Midlands, southern, southeast parts of England, and East Anglia, possibly going as far northwards as Lincolnshire. There's still a little bit of uncertainty about the northern extent of this, but really it's for the central, southern and southeast parts of the country. I think that will get the heaviest of rain tomorrow afternoon. There is deep blue curves there, almost going towards purple, so the scale is just here. That's 25 to 30 millimetres of rain down across the southeast, so I think it will be very wet. It has been very dry down in the southeast, of course, for most of this summer, so real change. It'll be a relief for your gardens, for your plants, I'm sure, but certainly a change on what we've had through most of this summer. And keep in mind that when it's been very dry, sometimes the roads do get rather slippery, really, almost like an oil effect can occur when you've had a prolonged period of dry weather and then you get heavy rain. So that could be one to watch out for tomorrow evening's rush hour. Through the course of the night, that all pushes eastwards out into the North Sea, but still giving a lot of soaking, a real soaking down in the southeast. Again, that lasting towards Saturday evening, Friday evening, the early hours of Saturday, before it clears away to the east of the country. As the GFS model, this is how high-res Euro 4 is seeing this from Weather Online. Find link to Weather Online on the links page. Very similar at 6 o'clock in the morning with the rain down in the southwest. As we go through the morning, that rain gets heavier and more widespread into the south. Notice it's probably not pushing as far northwards as the GFS takes it. And then as we go through into the afternoon, that's when things get really heavy in terms of precipitation in the southeast. When you see about it, it's particularly through Lincolnshire, down into the Midlands, and then to the southeast of that, that we have the risk of some very wet weather on Friday afternoon. There is a risk of heavy showers further north for Northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland. One or two of those could be thundery, but the persistent rain is down in the south and the southeast, but it doesn't take it quite as far north as the GFS. By midnight on Saturday, that low pressure is going into the North Sea, and that's when it pulled down. It's fairly strong and chilly northeasterly wind into the southeast. So not only pouring with rain on Friday evening and into the early Saturday morning in the southeast, it'll also be turning increasingly windy as well. Very unpleasant conditions there. The total precipitation accumulation chart looks like this. So quite widely through central southern parts of England, we're up to 10 to 20 millimetres of rain, but you'll notice there is this swathe of much deeper colours stretched out from the Channel and the southwest, going into the South Midlands, on up towards parts of East Anglia and Lincolnshire, and then down into the southeast. And in those areas, could get anything up to 25 to 50 millimetres of rain, something like that, particularly along the south coast and into the far southeast, where I think 50 millimetres, 2 inches rain is not out of the question. In a short space of time, that will give the risk of some localised flooding. And then finally, the high-resolution WRF model looks like this. Again, for 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, the rain down in the southwest of the country. What happens after that? Well, through the course of the day, that rain pushes northwards and eastwards very, very steadily. Here it comes. The bright colours are in there. Bright green colours indicate some really heavy bursts of rain into the afternoon. Very widespread and heavy precipitation through the south and the southeast of the country. There could be rumbles of thunder in with this, and maybe a flash of lightning. I think generally it's more of a persistent heavy thundery rain, but down in the southeast, where we've got these really vibrant colours going towards sort of a peachy colour there, I think down in the far southeast, wouldn't be that surprised if there was some lightning and thunder mixed in. The Cape, the Quebec potential doesn't look great with this, so say more persistent rain, but don't be surprised just from the intensity of precipitation, really. There is some lightning and thunder in it. By the time we go through to Saturday morning, this is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. The rain is still clinging on to the East Anglian coast and far southeast of England, but eventually it does push out of the way and things turn drier through the course of Saturday. So a little bit of uncertainty still with the northern extent of this weather system, but it does look like a very significant rain event down across the south and the southeast, with quite widely anything up to an inch of rain, 25 millimetres. Some places in the southeast could go over an inch and up towards 2 inches of rain during tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. So going out beyond this, it's staying unsettled. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the coming couple of weeks. The red line here, the 30-year temperature average. You can see that up to the 1st of August, which is just here, we're going to be below average. So pretty cool period coming up. There is a bit of a recovery taking place as we get through into the second half of the ensemble. That's the unreliable time frame of the model. Just seeing temperatures lifting up a little bit, but only back towards the 30-year average. And there is quite a lot of scatter in this as well, so probably best to leave that alone. But certainly going up to the start of August, it looks very cool and unsettled as well. Lots of precipitation spikes. This just here is Friday's rain. We've got more coming in on Sunday into Monday. I mean, it looks like we may get another bout through Tuesday into Wednesday next week. So quite a significantly wet spell coming up over the next week. Certainly after that, maybe turning a bit drier. But there are still precipitation spikes there, so wouldn't necessarily say that into the start of August it will turn particularly dry, but it looks like it's going to be a bit of a drier start to August compared to the end of July. The temperature anomaly looks like this, going from the 23rd of July through to the 31st of the month, on day of the month, and we're coming out cooler than average. You won't be surprised at that after seeing those ensembles. And very different to what we've had throughout the summer so far, the precipitation anomaly is coming out wetter than average. I did say when we looked at these a couple of days ago, and I thought these would be trending wetter through this week, and indeed they are. So the week from the 23rd to 31st of July is coming out wetter than average across all parts of the country, and the greatest anomaly is probably down in the south, actually, in the far south and southwest, just because of tomorrow's heavy rainfall. So our first sort of wetter than average week of the summer across the whole of the country coming up. Finally, have a look at the generic charts. Here's the chart for Monday. We've got a deep area of low pressure over top of the country at 995 millibars. I say deep, that is deep for the time of year. Of course, not deep by sort of December, January standards when we go down to 950 millibars. But for the middle of summer, 27th of July, that is a pretty deep area of low pressure to be stuck over the top of the country. Running through the week, that low pressure clears away to the east, but keep an eye on this one. Looks like it could do similar things through the middle part of next week to what tomorrow's area of low pressure is going to do as it moves in across the country. So here it comes on Wednesday pushing in off the Atlantic. It may bring up a slightly warmer southerly flow very briefly ahead of that low pressure, but really the low is in control, and this is a very unseasonable chart for Thursday the 31st. Look at this, we're down, I think the central pressure of that is down to around 985 millibars. That's very deep area of low pressure for the middle of summer. Really tight packed ice bars wrapped around that as well, so there's gales blasting across the country, particularly in the north, and no doubt lots of heavy rain too. You could almost say that's autumnal, and it's probably over top. I'll be surprised if that low pressure gets that deep next week, but it certainly isn't great signals, obviously. As we go through to Friday the 31st, the low pressure is starting to move away up to the northeast. The summer storm is clearing out, and then by the time you go through to day 10, 2nd of August, maybe just the very first hints at high pressure could be starting to re-establish there. Although, really, there's a lot of low pressure in the Atlantic. We've got one just here, more low pressure up here. That one is the storm that's clearing away, the summer storm. So, I'm not sure quite how long this area of high pressure would last with all this low pressure in the Atlantic. But it could be the first hints of a change to drier and warmer conditions, perhaps for the start of August. And finally, the ECMWF, there's that low pressure over the country through the start of next week. That clears out of the way on Tuesday. There's the low pressure that the GFS wants to develop into a major summer storm. Actually, the ECMWF does not do that, and what it does, it just sort of ridges this ridge of high pressure in across the country in the second half of next week. So major differences there between the GFS and the ECM for the second half of next week. At this particular point, Thursday the 30th of July, the GFS has a major storm over top of the country at 985 millibars, whereas the ECM shows a 1025 millibar ridge building through the country. So a big difference there for the second half of next week. Not sure the ECM is performing terribly well at the moment, however, and that ridge sort of continues as we go through into the end of next week, and by the time we go through to day 10, 2nd of August, probably signs that ridge is being squeezed off to the northeast, and these areas of low pressure in the Atlantic are starting to attack, although we will probably be bringing up a warmer airflow temporarily from the south or the southeast. So bit of a difference for the second half of next week as to quite what's happening. But as I say, I'm not sure really that the ECM is performing all that well, because it hasn't handled tomorrow's low pressure particularly well, to be honest. I think the GFS has been leading that. So let's wait and see on the second half of next week. But certainly up to the middle part of next week, we're in for an unsettled period. Got heavy rain coming up in the south tomorrow, more rain on Sunday, that will last into Monday with heavy showers, then possibly another bout of heavy rain around the middle of next week, but that one is a little bit more uncertain. We'll be looking at JMA Friday tomorrow, doing a month-ahead look ahead, see whether there's any signs of settled weather for August. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.